It is finally game over for Lisa and she is crashing out. Let's break it all down in today's recap.
But I'll be on it always, always.
Hey queens, welcome back to my queen cave. My name is Shelby, queen of the queen cave, and in here I drop recaps and reviews of my favorite TV shows and movies, commentary on any topic I find interesting, and deep dives into Black history, Black culture, and icons that helped shape that culture. If that is your vibe, hit the subscribe, you already know the deal. Today we are recapping The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 7, Above Deck and Below the Belt. Okay, so the girls arrive at the airport and Mary is already struggling with her bags. And Whitney gets a text from Bronwyn telling her she's actually gonna miss the flight with the girls and catch a later flight and meet them up at the yacht. So we're gonna meet up with her a little bit later. The girls actually aren't even surprised she's not coming because of the recent headlines of her fraudulent schemes of her past allegedly came out. So they're gonna go ahead and talk about that with her later. In Whitney's confessional, she says she understands why Bronwyn didn't want to come with them on the flight because of the headlines that just came out, and she feels like Bronwyn is kind of damned if she does, damned if she doesn't type of situation, because either way the girls are going to talk about it, so Bronwyn cannot escape it. The girls board the plane, take their 15-hour flight, and they get on the yacht in Canoan. Heather actually knows the captain already since her and Whitney took a trip, I think last summer, and Captain Jason, his name, was the captain of that yacht. So she already has connections with him. And in Heather's confessional, she is asked by one of the producers if Heather and Captain Jason were on an island together, what would she bring? Heather's response is, get this, a bikini and condoms.
What? What the fuck?
Heather, I don't think Jason is interested, but thanks. So the girls are waiting to board on the yacht, and Angie is already being extra. She's going down the line, trying to hug all the crew members, and she makes a comment when she gets down to the end, and she goes, "You'll never work harder for your money in your life." Damn, why would you say that, Angie? I don't know how you thought that was supposed to land, but that's not what you would want to tell service workers that are trying to make sure you have a good experience. Like, it's just not coming off, it's not really sounding the best, if anyone else is catching my drift. Lisa in her confessional is already throwing shade at Angie, and she goes, "This is gonna be Angie's first time on a yacht. She's usually in an RV." Why does this is exactly where Lisa starts it. It starts right here, and Lisa wants to act later on down the line when things start to get real heated. I don't know where this came from. Why are you coming at me? Right here, this is where it starts, Lisa. You did not have to say anything about Angie, but okay, go on, I guess. But Angie also throws her own shade at Lisa, and she goes, "I don't want to have anything to do with Lisa. I want to stay far away from her, except for when I want my ankles to look smaller." Oh. The girls finally get on board, they get some drinks, and the crew is pissed about how much luggage the girls have. And in Brittany's confessional, she's being thirsty, desperate, and a pick-me, swooning over all the men. There's so many men on the yacht. Oh my gosh, I just can't wait to get to know everyone. We can smell the desperation a mile away, Brittany. Please just go ahead and save it. The girls then get a tour of the mega yacht, and it is so bomb. And they have 4 bedrooms. So we have the breakdown. We have Whitney and Heather in 1 bedroom, Bronwyn and Brittany. We have Mary and Angie, and we have Meredith and Lisa. One of the crew members brings up the comment Angie made about working so hard for their money, and another crew member goes, "I mean, I would hope the tip reflects in that, or else I'm stealing all their jewelry." So if anyone has any missing jewelry, we know who the culprit is. Confession is on tape. Heather is rounding up the ladies, and she's just trying to remind them to keep it cute since this is her friend Captain Jason's boat. Brittany continues to be thirsty over Captain Jason, and we find out that she now officially is starting her 30-day trial period away from Jared. And then in her confessional, she says that initially it was started, and then Jared came over to help her pack. You couldn't do that alone, Brittany? Or with your daughters, maybe? And then she says, now that they're on the trip and away from Jared, the 30 days officially starts now.
Right.
Right. Next. The ladies agreed to dump a pitcher of water on Brittany's head every time Jared's name is mentioned, and it's definitely one of the best parts of the episode. Bronwyn finally is approaching on her little boat up to the yacht, and in her confessional, she says she doesn't know what she's walking into because of all the headlines, and she knows the lady's already been gossiping about it behind her back, and she wants to have a good time on the girls' trip, but in the back of her mind, she keeps remembering all the things Todd was telling her about not wanting her to go on the trip, so she's kind of on edge already. When Bronwyn gets on the boat, she's wearing this like yellow, I don't even know how to explain it. I'll just put a picture up here so you guys can see the visual. It looks a mess, if we're just gonna be real. And she has this like little floaty around her waist, and the girls are asking her if she's wearing either is that for fashion or is it a costume? And Lisa's in the background talking about it's a mix, it's a mixture, it's both. And when Bronwyn gets on the boat, Lisa goes, "You came with your own life raft, yay!" Lisa, shut up! Like, she could not wait to get on Bronwyn's neck the second she got on the boat. In Lisa's confessional, she thinks that Bronwyn will try to retaliate against her because of all the headlines coming out against her, but she essentially believes that Bronwyn is getting her karma, quote. So after Bronwyn figures out she's gonna be rooming with Brittany, she mentions Jared's name, and the girls immediately get a pitcher of water and dump it on Brittany's head once again. It was another highlight of the episode. So the girls go off to get settled in their rooms, and Brittany brings out this stuffed animal with Jared's voice saying, "I love you," and "Hey baby," something like that. And I was like, you fucking brought that on the trip? What happened to the 30 days? What happened to you not having anything to do with Jared for 30 days, Brittany? Like, this is violating the code, isn't it? Where's the water? You guys need to go ahead and put the water on her head for this too. So one of the crew members is bringing someone's luggage in their room. I don't know who it is, but for some reason, the luggage is now open and they picked up a cucumber that was in that person's luggage, and they're touching it and they're trying to figure out like why they have a cucumber in their luggage. And I'm trying to figure out, why do you have that person's luggage not only opened, but you're taking something out of that luggage, and you're now trying to examine and figure out why they have it in their personal luggage. Is that not going beyond the code of customer privacy? Like, I don't even know, is that not going on some type of violation? Because there's no reason why you should be in that person's luggage. That threw me all the way off. Meredith and Lisa are talking about Bronwyn's headlines, and Lisa thinks that Bronwyn will tell parts of the truth, while Meredith thinks it would be best for Bronwyn to just clear it up right now. I'm wondering, why does Bronwyn have to clear anything up with any of you? Like, I don't know. Like, she doesn't have to say anything. Just like Lisa, I guess, didn't have to say anything. But it's like, why? I don't understand why you guys feel the need to have that person explain themselves. Like, who are you supposed to be? I don't have to explain shit to you. And now we get to Bronwyn and Brittany's room. And Brittany is trying to grill Bronwyn for not coming with the girls on the flight. And she's trying to ask and probe more details about what's going on with her situation. Bronwyn believes someone in the group blasted the story. She denies the allegations are true and says they actually have changed many times over the years. How she explains it is the only thing she has on her record was her being evicted from her apartment after she left to go give birth to Gwen, and she couldn't pay that last month's rent. So she said that's the only thing that's publicly on record or on file for her. She's never been charged in the situation, and she fully cooperated with the authorities. She also tries to explain the penal code that was associated with that case is under the same penal code that is listed as the identity theft, the grand theft, and the fraud. So because of that, and because the case is sealed and people can't get much more detail, the last thing they're going to do is speculate and fill in the blanks however way they can, because they can't get the confirmed details. So that's why she says from there on she can't speak more about it because it is a sealed case, but she does maintain that she was not a part of it and the allegations are false. She is upset that the girls have been talking about it behind her back, and nobody but Mary has called to reach out to her and see if she's okay. Angie starts to get seasick, and this is gonna happen for the rest of the episode for her. The girls sit down for lunch, and Whitney is now bombarding Bronwyn with all these questions, asking her if everything is okay. And Bronwyn explains to the girls that Todd was really upset about the headline, and he really did not want her to go on the girls trip. Meredith tries to get Bronwyn to clear up the allegations since all this different information has been coming out against her. Bronwyn tries to explain to the girls her situation, and they can't understand why that would make it a headline based off of what she's telling them, but she doesn't give them much more details since the case is a sealed case and she's really just trying to move on from it anyway. Heather starts asking Bronwyn, like, okay, if that's the case, why is it that big of a deal? Like, why do you care so much? And Bronwyn explains she cares because Todd believes someone within the group exposed that story and blasted it to the headlines. And the second that Lisa hears this, she gets defensive and she exposes herself. And she goes, no one in this group would do that. Why would you think anyone in this group would do that? And it's like, why are you piping up, Lisa, getting all defensive? You're making it real obvious it was you that put the story out. Since you already have a bad track record of doing that with everyone else, Lisa does a really bad job this entire episode of trying to lie and deflect her way away from this. But as we said, Lisa has a pattern of doing stuff like this to other people, i.e. with Whitney and her company. So it would not be far-fetched to think that Lisa was the one that did this. Whitney tries to make the point that it's real suspicious because that person had to do a lot of digging in order to get that information. And Bronwyn agrees with Whitney that it's suspicious. Lisa again cuts in, gets defensive, and then she deflects to Bronwyn and she goes, you were the one that was bringing up my dirt, and feels like Bronwyn was retaliating against her. Bronwyn says that's the very thing that she's worried about. She's worried that she's pissed somebody off and that has them retaliating, going back to digging up this old dirt and blasting it to the headlines, i.e. Lisa. Heather in her confessional says Lisa is just exposing herself and she does not want the girls to connect the obvious dots that everyone else can already see. Mary wants Bronwyn to be real clear on who she thinks is divulging the information, and she calls out Lisa. Bronwyn says it would really bother her if someone in this group would do that to her. Although she's not trying to accuse anyone, she does point out things in the group intensified after they went to Rando Amy's party. She says she thought her and Lisa made up after they had that one-on-one lunch, but now she's starting to think differently because clearly the energy and the vibe is way off. Lisa continues to deny and deflect, talking about her lawsuits, and she's like, what about my stuff? What about my stuff? Who dug up that? And I'm like, we're not talking about you, Lisa. We're talking about Bronwyn, but good try. Lisa in her confessional, she's going off on Bronwyn. She's pissed off that Bronwyn is accusing her and she does not want to be the scapegoat for this. Whitney again in her confessional is saying that Lisa being defensive is making it obvious that she's the one that went ahead and exposed these stories. As I said, everyone believes it's Lisa, and I also believe it's Lisa. I feel like Lisa had a quote motive to go after Bronwyn, and she's been doing that with everyone else, so why would it not make sense for her to do the same thing to Bronwyn when she is now at odds with Bronwyn? The girls finally get in the water to have some fun. Heather is riding on Captain Jason's back and they're floating through the water, and she goes, I'm riding him like a bronco. Ew! Heather, please stop. Heather is drunk the entire episode. Brittany's getting jealous that Heather is flirting with Captain Jason. And Heather tells Brittany that her and Captain Jason had a little thing going on. They were messing around. And then in her confessional, she goes, did I really say that with a straight face? I said that. Delete. Do not put that in there. I cannot believe I said that. And I don't know why. And I don't know why I said that. And I'm like, why did you say that, Heather? Because it sounds from the fact that you're trying to backtrack, it possibly was not true. I wonder what Captain Jason had to say about that. Brittany says she wants to talk to Captain Jason, and Heather's like, okay, we'll get in the water and just go talk to him. And she goes, no, I'm not like that. And 5 seconds later in the next scene, we see her get on this floating swan, and she's over there flirting around with Captain Jason.
Child. Anyway, so...
Meanwhile, Angie's seasickness is getting worse, and now she's throwing up everywhere. She will now be bedridden from here on out for the rest of the episode. Bronwyn and Whitney are now talking in Bronwyn's room, and she's just recapping the lunch, and Bronwyn could not understand why Lisa got so defensive so quick, especially when she did not directly accuse her. And Whitney is positive that it was Lisa that fed the stories to the press, And that's the reason why she got so defensive. Bronwyn makes a point of when Lisa exposed that rumor, quote, about Whitney sourcing her stuff from Alibaba. And she also makes another point of when Lisa called her a nickname. I think she said Fraudwyn or Conwyn, either one of those. And she said on Twitter the day after Lisa said that, that same nickname was circulating around. So she uses those two clues to indicate that it was indeed Lisa spilling all the dirt. Whitney in her confessional does not think that the whole nickname of Fraudwyn or Conwyn was a coincidence, and she thinks that Lisa is starting to get sloppy because before she used to cover her tracks a little bit better, but now it's real clear and obvious that Lisa's name is written all over this. Bronwyn says that if the rumor is true, she will be officially done with Lisa, and it's really begging the question, why were you not already done with Lisa after everything she's done, Bronwyn? But I digress. Next, Whitney goes to Heather's room and she identifies the pattern that Lisa has every time things start getting leaked when she gets mad at them. Heather completely agrees with Whitney and she says that Lisa is smarter and darker than they think. She digs up information on the girls and she keeps her own scorecard, and she also thinks that she is on a mission to expose Bronwyn at any way she can. We then see flashbacks of Lisa going around to different people to ask them about Bronwyn, how they feel about her, how they feel about Todd. And then Heather sends Whitney to go get Meredith because she thinks because her and Lisa are so close as friends, the conversation of Heather's trying to expose Lisa as being the one throwing all the dirt, or I guess holding her accountable, would go over better if she had Meredith's cosign or backup. And we see later on how much that flops. Whitney then asks Meredith if she thinks that Lisa is behind all of the dirt, and she thinks that it's real interesting how when we first started talking about Lisa's lawsuits, it immediately got deflected into everybody else, and now we're no longer talking about Lisa's lawsuits. Meredith says it would definitely be a problem if these rumors about Lisa was true, but she tries to give Lisa the benefit of the doubt, which doesn't make any sense, because she's already done this to you multiple times, and much more recently coming from Angie. So you believing that this might not be Lisa is real naive and stupid, Meredith, but I guess. And then she also says, I don't know why the girls care so much about who leaked the rumor versus Bronwyn doing the XYZ. And I'm like, but Bronwyn was not confirmed to doing the act. So that's not really viable in this discussion, Meredith. She then ends it off by saying if Lisa did do it, it would be horrible, but correlation does not equal causation. Okay, Meredith, we'll go ahead and go with that, but the next time the dirt comes out about you and your family, yeah, and it comes out and it's Lisa the one that has exposed it, we will go back and revisit this moment. A quick update on Angie. She is bedridden, as we said, but she now needs medical assistance from Captain Jason, so she's not doing too well. The girls sit down for dinner, and Heather makes a comment that she's sad that Angie and Mary aren't there because she misses Mary's commentary. And Brittany chimes in talking about I don't like Mary's commentary. And Heather cuts her off, telling her they have a rule. They can only talk shit to each other in their faces, not behind their back. And I'm thinking, when did the rule be put in place? Because I know all of you guys talk about each other behind each other's backs. So please let me know when the rule was put into motion, Heather. And we get flashbacks of Brittany and Bronwyn going shopping for some reason. And Brittany's talking about Lisa, and she feels like Lisa is trying too hard to big sister her, and she feels like she can fight her own battles on her own. And then for Meredith, she says that Meredith is constantly having a seizure every time she sees her. She's always going from 0 to 100 in 0.25 seconds, and she doesn't even know what to expect from Meredith. So when Meredith gets wind of this, she is pissed. She's like, a seizure? Are you kidding? That's not even funny, because one of my kids have had a seizure, so she's not taking this lightly at all. Meredith then gets up and pours her cup of water in Brittany's lap. And Brittany gets pissed off, throws her cup of water back at Meredith, and she goes, see, this is what I'm talking about. The seizure's right here. Brittany is tired of being ganged up on, and in this episode, she finally stands up for herself in some way. Brittany's upset in her confessional, and she's mad that Meredith is going off on her and no one is standing up for her. And she also thinks that Meredith doesn't like her because she's the only one that's not afraid to stand up to her, quote. She then calls her crazy again after mocking her voice, and that is the only time Brittany made me laugh. Heather tries to piggyback off of that, and she says that people need to own up to their actions in the group before they can move on. She tries to make it clear this is not a dog pile. She just simply wants to hold everyone accountable equally. I think a little something to soften the blow for Lisa. Whitney then points to Heather and she goes, "We should talk about the conversation that me, you, and Meredith had in your room, Heather." And Meredith goes, "Yeah, you guys should talk about it." And Heather is in her confessional like, "I'm kind of disappointed because I thought Meredith would have my back and back me up on this conversation since she was also part of it. But I'm kind of let down that she's just kind of letting me out to dry." And I'm like, I don't know why you were surprised that Meredith would get on board with this, Heather, because even though she was saying, taking some points into consideration about how Lisa has had a track record of doing this, she is still giving her the benefit of the doubt. So you should have already known she was not going to be right next to you when you came down to trying to hold Lisa accountable and put her on blast, basically. But Heather finally takes it upon herself to drop the bomb that she believes that Lisa is behind the one spilling all the dirt. Lisa's face is instantly cracked. She's too stunned to speak, and she doesn't say anything at first. And then she immediately bursts out into the defensive mode once again. And she wants to act all clueless, trying to figure out why the girls are trying to come for her. Whitney responds saying, "It's because you're always the one having all the information right before it gets leaked." Lisa is fuming that Meredith was part of this conversation, and she points to her and she goes, "You better have defended me." And I'm like, Lisa, let's go ahead and put our hands out of people's faces, because you could have easily got one of those and it would have been justified, because that was doing way too much. And she tells her, "You better apologize." Apologize for what? Like, if we're gonna be real, Meredith, I guess, does defend Lisa. Again, she's the only one that has the benefit of the doubt to Lisa over this, while everyone else believes she's behind the leaking of the dirt. So you can go ahead and take it some notches down for Meredith. Meredith responds that she hopes the allegations aren't true, and Lisa screams, they're not true. And Meredith goes, "Okay, that's all I needed." That's it? That's all you needed, was her saying it? You don't need anything else, the other details that easily support the fact that Lisa more than likely is behind it. So again, I would not feel bad for Meredith at all if in the future Lisa does go forth to dig up that information about her. What was it? Her family was shoplifting and there was some bankruptcies? Yeah, so if that does end up coming out later, Meredith, we will not feel sorry for you, because we already tried to tell you and you wanted to be a good friend, quote, and give her the benefit of the doubt. We'll see about that. Lisa is adamant she is not the source of the information, but does say that people do come and tell her stuff all the time. She's now crying, getting all defensive. Whitney gets up to try to console her, talk to her, whatever. And she's telling Whitney, "Sit your little butt down." And now Lisa and Heather are going back and forth. And Lisa goes, "Fuck you guys. You bitches are even lucky I even talked to you."
Boom.
Oh, see, there it goes, Lisa. You thinking that you are above everyone and above the program. We see it right here once again. The girls are sitting there and they're shook. And Lisa is still going off. She's now looking at Meredith. She's in her face. She's telling her, "You better apologize right now." And Heather is getting pissed off too. She says to Meredith, "Don't be afraid of her, Meredith. She's just trying to throw her weight around." She says she's been nothing but a good friend to Lisa. And then she says, "F you" to Lisa. And I was real caught off guard and surprised, like, oh, Heather? Is she finally growing some even bigger balls than before? And now we're gonna build off of last time, because you would not think in a million years Heather would fix her lips to say no fuck you to Lisa Barlow. Heather is clearly wasted at this point, and she's slurring her words, and she's telling Lisa that she needs to be the one to own up to spilling all the dirt on Bronwyn and the headlines. And Lisa is getting mad. She's saying, "Fuck that, I'm not gonna apologize for something I didn't do." And Lisa goes, "If you really do believe that, Heather, we just don't need to be friends anymore." And that has Heather pissed, because she spent all these years trying to crawl up Lisa's asshole. And now that she's finally there, she's getting the boot quick. Lisa continues to deflect, and she goes, "It could be either one of you girls. What if either one of you guys did it?" And Heather goes, if I did it, I would just own up to it." She says she's never said anything disparaging about Lisa or her marriage, and she's only been there to defend her. She says she's not going to be afraid anymore to say whatever she feels to Lisa's face. And then she says, "Lisa, if you're not going to listen to me, you can get the fuck off the boat." Lisa gets pissed. She's crying now. She's like, "Really? You want me to leave? Okay." And now she's over here sobbing, getting all upset. And then she gets on the phone to call John and tell him all the sob story. Lisa wants Heather to leave her alone, but Heather refuses to stop following her. So they just go all around the boat with Lisa crying on the phone with John, trying to tell him what happened. Heather is trailing behind her, trying to tell her, stop, Lisa, just listen, just talk to me. Lisa's telling her to go the fuck away. And while she's on the phone with John, she tells her that, oh, Heather wanted me to own up to being the source to leaking all this information about Bronwyn. And Heather straight up gaslights Lisa, and she goes, you're making all this up in your head. Huh? Heather, that's exactly what happened. You are telling Lisa she is the one that has divulged all the information about Bronwyn, and you want her to fess up, and that's exactly what happened. So you're now telling her that's not what happened, and she's making it all up in her head. You straight up gaslit her. I don't know if anyone else saw that or noticed that, but I was like, Heather, you must be real drunk, because that is exactly what just happened. She then gives one more fuck you to Lisa, and then she finally leaves her alone. In her confessional, Lisa is really hurt and confused that Heather is accusing her of all this, and she doesn't understand where this is coming from because of all the progress they made in their friendship. And because Heather is accusing her of this, she now has to reassess her friendship with her. Back in Angie and Mary's room, Heather is coming in there and she's looking for Lisa so she can talk to her. She gives them a little update on what happened at dinner and how she confronted Lisa. And both the girls are like, well, that's good for you, girl. Like, we finally said how you felt and you weren't afraid to stand up to Lisa. Meanwhile, Lisa is at the bottom of the boat, still crying on the phone with John by herself. And here comes Brittany trying to comfort Lisa. And Lisa straight up tells her, I don't want to be around anyone. Get the fuck out of my face. Leave me alone. And then she goes back up there to get Heather because Heather is still looking for Lisa. Brittany takes Heather to Lisa, and that is kind of where the episode ends. So based off of this episode, I thought it was so juicy and so good. We finally get some more details on this situation with Bronwyn, and we finally have Heather giving Lisa the business. And clearly, Lisa could not take it when someone is really trying to be on her neck. She goes and does all this deflecting. Now she's getting defensive. Now she wants to do this whole waterworks, woe is me, I'm a victim bullshit. So next episode, I want to see how much deeper this little rabbit hole goes so we can see if Lisa is going to actually own up to anything or she's going to keep deflecting and see how good that goes for her. But how do you feel about this episode? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did like this video, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!